So this is, in fact, my first lamplighter. So excuse me if I get a little nervous and stuff. I'm not exactly a public speaker, but anyway, today I am giving you my story. And it's not just a normal story, it's my testimony that has changed my life from a brutal storm to, well, sunshine and rainbows. The story is my journey of recovery, of a girl who hated herself so much her whole life that she had to reinvent herself if she wanted to survive. And in the end, she became the woman she and God always planned for her to be. I had to relinquish my slipping control to God so I could let my old venomous self die, so that I could be born again with a blank slate, so that I could begin a road to a better Lauren, a healthy, happy Lauren. What I have next is a special video. The video is a sort of an introduction. When I was in a dark place, I started some video logs, and the point of these logs were to document where I was to go on my road of self-destruction. I had absolutely no idea how the outcome would be. I didn't know if it was going to be good or bad. Regardless, I had the intention to make some sort of makeshift video documentary that I could post online. I wanted to reach out to those who were in the same boat as me, to let them know that they weren't alone, and maybe if my outcome was good, my documentary could save someone's life. The video I'm about to show you is the very first log. It explains why and how everything in my journey came to be. I filmed it around 1.5 years ago, so keep in mind this video is not scripted whatsoever, so sometimes I repeat myself and give some details to things, but yeah.
Hi, I'm Lauren DeLuna, and this is a video I've been wanting to do for a really long time. And before I go into it, I just want to start from the beginning. So, when I was a kid, I was kind of chubby. I was a pretty chubby kid, and I was really happy-go-lucky. And people bullied me for being chubby, and I'm a really sensitive person, so that didn't go over too well. In elementary school, if I jumped off the swings, people who I barely knew would scream earthquake when I landed. In middle school, some of my friends, well, I thought they were my friend. He would yell cow every time he saw me. Another kid would scream at my stomach, "Timmy, are you in there?" And it was all fun and games for them, but it really hurt. And so, just as a kid, I just always thought that being fat was just a terrible thing to be. Sorry. And so I never liked myself. And I remember one time when I was little, and this always stuck with me. We were going out to dinner, and I wasn't full from my dinner, so I asked my mom if I could have dessert, and she said, "Why not?" And my dad quickly stopped her, and he's like, "What are you doing?" And he said, "She weighs as much as an adult, and she's 10, if I even was 10. And it was true, but I just remember that hurt so bad. And I realized that is not okay to be fat like this, to be overweight as a child. And Dad, I love you, and if you're watching this, I know you didn't mean to hurt me. I know you were looking out for me, but I'm sorry. I love you, but just not everything you said was helpful." And so, throughout the years, I've dealt with some of the bullying. It lightened up the older I got, because I got more friends, more people accepted me, they liked my attitude, I was that funny dork. And this is my sophomore year in high school. I started Weight Watchers. And when I started, I was 242 pounds. And I was so sick of being overweight. I wanted to change. I was not happy with myself. I hated myself. If you complimented me, I would not believe it. I was happy, but I did not like myself. And so, as I did Weight Watchers, I lost weight. I liked myself more, and people were happy for me. My dad was proud of me. I didn't feel like a failure. I was proud of myself. And it was great. I was so happy. And I lost up to 30 pounds, or almost 30 pounds. And I didn't get out the 200-pound range, but it was okay. I was happy. And then I got overconfident. I stopped going to meetings, and slowly the weight started coming back on. And junior year, I started getting really disappointed with myself and really angry. And something happened. I was eating frozen yogurt, and I always had acid reflux, so this is gonna sound really gross, but some of my food would just come back up and I'd just swallow it down because I was acid reflux. But I realized, what if I spit it out? And little did I know that by the end of that summer, I would have developed a case of bulimia. And it started to grow into an addiction. And at the beginning, I did not think much of it. It was only with very certain foods. It was fine. I wasn't like losing too much weight or anything. It was just something to cope. And then some family problems happened, and I got really scared for my parents. And I remember thinking to myself that summer that if me having bulimia would keep them together, I would sacrifice that so I could keep them together. And that was a terrible idea. They did work it out, but I was losing weight, and I was addicted, and I didn't think it was too bad. And I told my mom that I think I'm developing a minor case of bulimia, and she's like, okay, I'm worried for you, but we'll get you a therapist. And yeah, so I saw a therapist for a while, and while I did get a lot of things off my chest, I wasn't working because I was losing weight. I was becoming thin again. I was losing weight, and I was so happy with myself, and yet so angry. And I know of the choices that I make will hurt my body, but I was happy because I was becoming thinner. And the numbers kept dropping and dropping, and then it worried my parents even more. And my mom, who has always been my best friend, she didn't really like to talk to me about it because she knew it would hurt me if we talked about it. But my dad, he's a really serious guy, but he gets really scared under his tough complex, and he would talk to me about it, and he's a guy. They don't know how to approach girls. And he would approach me in ways that would just tear me apart. They'd be like, we need to do something, Lauren, you're going to die. You need to tell us what can we do? Tell us what to do and we will do it. And I'm just sitting there like, I don't know. This is not your fault. This is mine. I put myself into this. What do you want me to do? And my senior year, during spring break, we went to this vacation in San Diego, and it was supposed to be really fun, but I was accepting myself, accepting that I had bulimia, that it got past the point of return, and I had an addiction that I couldn't break. And my dad approached me about it. And it wasn't in a sensitive way, because that's not how he knows to approach me. And I felt like the biggest failure in my life. And I didn't want to live anymore, because I was such a failure to him. To me, I didn't want to deal with it anymore. And I just didn't want to live. And I remember one day, I was really depressed, and I think like my mom was home or something, and I just looked at this bottle of pain pills, and I just stared at it, just wondering how much would it take before I wouldn't have to live anymore. Thank God I didn't do it. I would never, in the back of my mind, I always knew that I had too much to leave behind, and I would never do it, but I had that temptation for a while, and that was the darkest place in my life, and I never want to go back there again. But I'm really scared because this addiction, while people have stopped talking about it, and it makes me feel better because I feel like they forgot about it, which isn't good, but it makes me happy. It's getting really bad, and it's been bad, and I've had bulimia for 2 years, and it is really scary because it's just become clockwork now. I don't even think about it anymore. Rarely, very rarely, there are days when I don't purge, and it's really rare. It's a daily thing, more than once a day, and I remember telling my mom that I purged more than once a day, and it scared her to death. So, what I'm going to do, and this is why I wanted to make this video, is that I'm going to attempt recovery, because a month ago or so, I admitted to myself that I need recovery now, before this takes over my life. And soon I'm gonna talk to my parents about maybe going to a clinic and seeing what they can do, because I can't do this on my own. I don't want to end up in the hospital. I don't want to die. I want to live my life. And I want to beat this eating disorder, and I swear this isn't for attention. I want to share my journey with you guys, and I don't know how much I want to keep this a secret. I don't want to share this at all, but if it can help at least one person recover, or one person along their journey, then this is for you. Because there are moments and days where I just think about it, and I just feel like a failure to myself and to my family, and it scares me to death that one day I'm gonna end up in a hospital, and then everyone will know because I failed to get recovered. And so this is me stepping out. It's my first step to recovery, and I'm gonna bring you guys on this journey with me, and I'm really scared, but if this can help at least one person, it's gonna be worth it. So, thank you, and I'll be recording the journey along with me, whatever happens. I'll be logging in, I guess. But the first step is to announce to my parents that I need to visit a clinic, and I need to find some treatment. So, thank you, and I'll see you soon.
All right, so before I continue that timeline, kind of find it necessary to to share something else. So the bulimia was for 2 years, which means I went through 2 CFOs. The CFO in 2013, that's when it was kind of starting, and that's when I was having the problems with my parents. So it wasn't a big deal to me back then. And then CFO in 2014, that's when it was really bad. And that's when I was like, I didn't know what I was going to do. And I was cleaning up my room the other day, and I found my letter to God from that year. And it was just kind of like really eye-opening, because I'm able to look back at this now. It's just, wow. So this is the letter just to kind of give you an idea of where I was in 2014. Dear God, I feel that I can't do this much longer. Lies fill my days from a simple, I'm good, how about you, to I just went to wash my hands. It's really taken over me and has taken its toll on my mentality. Each pound lost isn't thin enough. Yet if I hit a goal weight, how can I possibly be proud of it? And all these compliments I now get only remind me of my failure. And yet, if anyone confronts me about my eating disorder, I immediately lie and hide to protect them. No one truly knows how bad I am, and I don't want anyone to find out, so I can protect us both. I need help because I can't stop. I don't want to. That voice in my head would drive me insane, and if I gain weight, I'm terrified of what darkness will eat me alive. I can't risk it. I can't risk putting my mentality and family through that. I can't let this go, but I must because I am dying. I need help, but this wall is too thick. I don't know what I'm going to do. Please help me. So I knew that it was all part of his plan, and my storm wasn't over yet, but it was just, I was still struggling. So back to the timeline of the video. Confronting my parents about recovery was relatively easy. She's like, hey, Mom and Dad, I feel like I need to go to a clinic now. It's been enough time. I need to at least try. And they were on board with it pretty quick. And my dad's like, it's a huge relief, because like, finally I can just stop hurting her, and she wants to do this on her own. But when I was searching, just like, I wasn't having a lot of luck. There was just a lot of clinics that were rather too expensive, too far away. Our insurance didn't cover it. So I went to my therapist for help. She referred me to an outpatient clinic relatively nearby. The only thing was that the treatment was a 7-day-long treatment, and I had to attend every day. I was still doing school and working my spring job, so I had to wait until summer. And the longer I waited, I don't know why, but it just felt like that wasn't the priority anymore, and I found myself like crying in bed, begging to God to stop the pain. And I would tell him that I knew that there was a reason for the storm, but it just hurt so bad. And it was just terrifying to know that I was tempting fate with each trip to the bathroom. It hurt that I couldn't control it, and I was slowly but surely killing myself, and I didn't see an end in sight. And then what do you know? CFO 2015 came around. And I was like, well, of course I'm going to go to this. But driving up there, I was just like, I knew I was really detached, and like, I kind of knew I knew God was in my life. I wasn't really feeling him moving much, and so I was pretty much detached. And on the way up, me and Mom were just eating a lot of snacks in the car, and as per usual, the moment we arrive, I run to the bathroom, and I purged, and I just remember feeling this horrible, horrible feeling of like disappointment and guilt, and I'm just like, wow, I'm doing this again? I did this last year, and now I'm doing it again. I want to stop disappointing God like this. This is not okay. And I was like, okay, well, let's just start with trying to keep dinner down. Let's just start there. So dinner comes around, and good thing about CFO is that there is thin up here, so it's a workout to just walk down the hill. It's a workout, and you have food choices. And so I immediately went to the salad and tried to skip out on dessert, or if I did want dessert, I'd share it with my mom and run away and try to walk some more. And what do you know? I kept dinner down, which hasn't happened in a very long time. So the next day I was like, Mom, I kept dinner down. I was just so excited. And then breakfast comes around, and like, okay, I kept dinner down. I can keep breakfast down, right? And I go to the peaches and the fruit they have over there and some oatmeal, and I keep it down. And I'm like, oh my God, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, this is amazing. So by the end of that day, it marked 24 hours I had been clean. And that hasn't happened in a very long time. And so I just remember telling my mom, and she was just so overjoyed, and I was overjoyed, and it was great. And I was texting my dad, like, Dad, I went a day without purging, oh my gosh, sort of thing. And he's like, oh my gosh. And so it was like a snowball effect of strength and happiness. And there were times where like that dessert was just a little too tempting, and I wanted more than just my shared portion with my mom, and I would get really frustrated, and I would go to the swing set, just like try to cool down. And then by the end of it, I was happy because I didn't give in. And it was just really gratifying. I think it was on the second or third day, I came up to my room after lunch, and I was just kind of sitting there untying my boots, and that memory of when my dad in the restaurant said I weighed as much as an adult as a child, that memory came to me, and immediately following said, you need to forgive him. And that is huge, because my dad was, I don't want to say a huge contribution to my eating disorder, because it was many things, but he was always very, very important to me, and I'd always want to try to make him proud of me. And so when I hated confronting him, because I was always scared, like, oh crap, he's going to be disappointed, I'm going to do something bad. So when those words came to my mind, it was just, oh crap. But I knew that was the first step if I did want to recover. And I think it was that night, or maybe the night after, the high schoolers were doing their thing in here after speaker at night, and Danielle Odash is an amazing person. She pulled me aside, and I told her about that. She was like, okay, I want you to talk to me like you were talking to your father. We're going to practice this. I'm like, oh, crap, okay. So we're talking, and I'm like, Dad, I forgive you for everything. And then I said something I didn't realize I was ever going to say. And I was like, you need to forgive me too. And I knew, it was so weird, because I knew that I was hurting him this whole time, but I always pinned me as the victim, and I didn't know I was going to cry this much during the speech. So that was just huge, and thank you, Danielle, for that. You're awesome. So by the end of the week, I was 5 days clean, which was a huge success for me. I was rejuvenated and strong and happy. I was ready to go home. I honestly felt like super empowered, like, yeah, I am recovered after 5 days. Like, I felt amazing. And so it was great, because like on the way home, I was like, Mom, I'm kind of scared to confront Dad. I'm kind of really scared. She's like, it's okay. And the funny thing was that my dad just got knee surgery that day. So he was on the couch. He can't move or anything. So I'm like, all right, I got him pinned. Yeah, it was funny. And so we're all just kind of sitting there watching TV, and I'm like, hey, Dad, I need to talk to you. And he's like, well, what is it? I'm like, so the CFO brought up some things, and I need you to just hear me out. Just don't say anything, because I'm going to cry if you say something. Just hear me out. And I explained to him that memory of the restaurant, and immediately, according to my mom, he said, that is a horrible thing to say to someone. And it's just like, you don't understand the impact of the words you say to someone until possibly for him 10, 15 years later, however old I was. And I asked him to forgive me, and he was like, there's nothing to forgive. I'm like, Dad, there is something to forgive. You forgive me now. And so that was it was a huge thing, because that thick wall between us just broke down. And it was it was crazy, because I never had such an openness with my dad. And now I talk to him all the time, and I can share anything I want with him. And it was funny, because I don't know if I don't think he's as religious as us, and just, he's always like, Brenda, is she actually okay? Like, is she really not purging anymore? And she's like, yeah, she's telling the truth. And he's like, you sure? Yeah. It was really funny. And so, like, a couple days later, I made the second video entry, and you can just see the difference. I was on a spiritual high. I was like laughing. I was kind of a freak. It was so funny. And it's just like, oh my gosh, I'm so happy. I feel so strong and recovered. It's only 9 days and I feel great. Like, again, only after a week, I was like, yeah, I'm a warrior. It was great. And there were times, because obviously down there, walking isn't an exercise anymore, and there was a lot more food choices down there, and so there were times where it's like, oh crap, this is really hard. I'm gonna run around the block, and it was tough to kind of retrain my mind, and I would find myself like constantly weighing myself and like seeing the weight come back just because my body was recovering, from the not eating, eating a lot and then getting rid of it. And then that's when I realized, like, this scale is my enemy. This scale makes me feel horrible, because that was a huge contributor to the bulimia. It's like, oh, the numbers are going down. Oh no, this is doing something. And then after CFO, it's like the numbers are coming up. Ooh, that voice in my head is coming back. So I moved it into my parents' bathroom. Solution. And just like after that, not having to constantly focus about my weight, I was just like gradually getting really happy. And I'm just like, I feel pretty good about myself. I feel fantastic. And like doing my little exercise here and there. And then I remember there was this one time I kind of snuck away in, and I had hit the point where I always wanted to be under. And I didn't give my time to react. I grabbed my camera, and then I was just like, oh my gosh, I just hit that point. And I just like was breaking down because that mentality was still there. Like I was doing really well, but that mentality was still there. And I just like bawling my eyes out for a little while. And then after that, I was like, you know what? No more scale. So I kind of like shifted that away, and I was very happy again. And like I would call, Zach and me would call, and it was after like a huge revelation in our lives, and we're just like, life is great. And he's like, yeah, it is. And we're just going on of just like how we've never been this so content in life, and it was amazing. And it was funny. I scheduled an appointment with my therapist to tell her that, like, hey, I'm recovering. And she's like, I've never had a patient schedule an appointment to tell me that. I was like, well, here you go. If I never schedule an appointment with you again, that's good. So she was really happy, and it was really funny because I always knew that I wanted to share my story from the start, and CFO 2015, I was invited to the counseling, and I was like, this is the perfect moment to ask for a lamplighter speech. And I had no idea like where I was going to be in a year, so I was like, crap, what if something bad happens? You know what? No, I'm going to fight. It was great. And so that was just a huge coincidence, and it was amazing. And like a couple months ago, I was like, oh crap, I need material for my speech. Uh-oh. And I prayed, and I was like, hey God, can you help me with something here? And just a little something for my speech. And I was in my car, and there's nothing really good on the radio, so I switched it to stations I wouldn't normally go to, and it was like the stations where it's sermons, and I never go there. And I was just like, yeah. And I'm just listening, and there's this one guy who was bringing up a great point, and I related it to it so well. It was crucifixion before resurrection, and he was explaining how you needed to die to yourself before like you were reborn again. And it was like, wow, because CFO 2015, that was me dying to myself, and like just this whole year was me like slowly resurrecting and like reinventing, and it was just huge. And so in April 2015, I decided I noticed I was gaining a little weight, so I was like, you know what? I'm going to lose weight on my own. So I downloaded some fitness apps, and then they asked, what's your starting weight? I was like, crap. I was like, do I want to do this? It's time. And so I went to my parents' bathroom, got on that scale, and I had to coach myself for a while. I was like, okay, I can do this. No, I can't. Okay, I got to wait. And it took a couple minutes, and I looked down, and in 10 months, my weight only fluctuated 10 pounds. And I was like, what? All my work was paying off. It was such a huge relief. I got out my phone, and I was like, guys, this is amazing. And it wasn't where I started. It was I had gained weight, but I didn't care. I was less weight than I would have expected, and I was so relieved and happy, and I was actually happy with the number that was above my goal weight. And it just showed me that my old self had officially died, and now was a new me. And it was just so gratifying, and I used my own strength to maintain a body that I love. And yeah, without the help of an eating disorder, look at that. And I had never been more happy and content this whole year, and my parents are proud, and my friends are proud. I'm healthy, I love myself, truly love myself, and just words can't express how grateful I am every day. And before CFO 2015, I had no plan to stop purging. I said I wanted to stop, but I know I didn't. And look, I did. I conquered the fear of the scale. I can look at myself in the mirror and think, I'm beautiful. Not only did I forgive my dad, I forgave my biggest bully. I forgave myself. And all without stepping into a clinic. That's amazing. And thank you, counseling, for letting me give my speech. But wait, it gets even better. Because I specifically asked for this day, June 15th, because today marks 1 year that I've been clean. Stop it. I'm not trying to cry here, okay? Trying to finish this. So I definitely could have never done this without CFO and everyone in it. CFO, honestly, saved my life, and by the grace of God, I am here today with more love for myself than I could ever have in my life, and I need to calm down. And hopefully, when I kind of finish the video, my little documentary, I can post it and help people love themselves too, and show that even when you're drowning in the toughest storm of your life, or you don't even know if you'll survive, there will always be a light that shines through. And that light is just so warm and so comforting. There's no way that darkness can stick around for long. And it just goes to show we are just so loved. It's amazing how much we're loved, and every dark time has a story. And there's a reason that such terrible things happen to us, and we just have to shift our perspective to see it. And sometimes, as I've heard from that pastor on the radio, that you just need to die to yourself to let that thing hurting you most die so that you can live again. I let my bulimia die, and somehow I came out recovered, happy, and beautiful, something I never thought that I deserved. And I've got to thank for showing me that. All right, I'm done.